Prolog. The eternal and vast whispers of mystery. In the dark corridors of a boundless mind, shadows ask, where does the sacred path truly lead? Is the question a wild flower in the silent grey night? Or is the answer a lighthouse guiding the heart aright? In an eternal dance, creation and numbers gently meet. From holy books to silent caves, stories softly glow, sweet. O seeker of truth, hear the soft, secret whisper. Every step unveils a curtain leading to ultimate truth. Subhanallah, wonders unfolding question and reply. Wow, how vast is God's grace, never-ending, reaching high. Let's explore with hearts full of praise and gratitude. Mystery binds time, soul, and love in full amplitude. From creation's dawn to revelation's grand echo, our steps dance, following the rhythm's soft flow. Questions open doors, answers light the way. In this riddle, truth shines bright as day. What came first? Curiosity or certainty? In the eternal circle, all abound in hope's decree. Subhanallah, God's greatness shines in every beat. Wow, this dance leads us to secrets never complete. Prologue. Explanation. Unveiling the initial veil. Deeply, this prologue poem, now expanded tenfold, introduces an epic journey through profound questions about existence, creation, and revelation in poetic yet accessible language. The main question, does the question or the answer dominate, invites high-level thinking. Both complement each other like yin and yang in the search for knowledge. Questions spark exploration, answers offer clarity, but neither wins absolutely. The wonder, wow, lies in this balance, reflecting divine wisdom worthy of praise. Subhanallah. From a philosophical perspective, questions are the sparks that ignite the fire of knowledge, while answers are the cornerstones that support it. In a practical context, such as in education, students ask to understand the world, while teachers answer to guide. In science, every discovery opens new questions, showing the eternal cycle of knowledge. This poem describes questions as wild flowers that bloom without limits, and answers as a lighthouse that offers direction but does not stop the journey. Theologically, this relationship reflects the divine plan. Humans are created with curiosity to seek truth, and the answers found are God's grace. In daily life, we ask to understand challenges, for example, how can I improve this? And answer to solve problems, for example, giving clear instructions. This balance is important in communication. Too many questions can confuse, too many answers can limit creativity. This poem serves as a gateway to a broader narrative, connecting philosophical questions with creation in the book of Genesis and the Quranic revelation. It invites us into an ongoing mystery where every question brings us closer to truth and every answer opens new paths for exploration. Praise be to divine wisdom that allows humans to seek and find, and wow to the wonder revealed in every step of this journey. Magical whispers, an expanding, endless dance. In the shadows of curiosity, creeping in silence, seekers lost in deep grey and lonely dreams. What grows like stars in the vast night sky, yet chases fading shadows in a hazy hope. One gives birth to the other in an eternal spinning dance, an endless chase, no real winner in the heart's expanse. Do questions bloom wilder than the truth we uphold, or do answers anchor the fears we deeply hold? Philosophers ponder with furrowed brows, firm and deep, classrooms and labs from day to dark night sleep. An endless loop, each discovery sparking new questions like waves on the shore forever softly beckoning. Pause a moment, O thinker, in this riddle's embrace. Questions unlock the soul's secrets hidden in this place. It delves into the unknown like roots seeking rain, while answers build bridges across chasms of pain. In life's grand theatre, both play a part, fates intertwined from end back to the start. From a small room to the vast and grand universe, questions and answers dance, binding time in grace. What started this dance? Who sets the pace? In this circle, truth shines, nothing is weak. Wow, the wonder of this dance stirs the searching soul. Subhanallah, praise to God who plans eternally. Explanation, unraveling the mystery of the question and answer. Dance extensively. This poem, now expanded tenfold with encompassing poetic language, delves into philosophical and practical questions about the number of questions versus answers. Questions, described as stars in the night sky, often outnumber answers because each solution sparks more questions, forming an endless loop of exploration. Wow, subhanallah. How amazing is the wisdom of divine creation that reflects the vastness of the universe. From a high-level perspective, questions are the main drivers of human discovery, while answers provide stability, yet both are interdependent in the harmonious dynamic of knowledge. Philosophically, questions represent boundless human curiosity. As Socrates said, "I know that I know nothing," which drives exploration. In science, every theory, answer like Einstein's theory of relativity, opens new questions about the universe. In education, students ask to understand concepts, showing questions as the basis of learning. In research, every answer opens new avenues for questioning, like the discovery of DNA leading to modern genetics. To determine whether to ask or answer, several detailed best practices can be used. Assess the situation deeply. Ask when there is confusion or an opportunity for deep exploration, such as in brainstorming sessions where open-ended questions like, "How can we create new solutions?" Open up ideas. Answering is appropriate when facts are needed immediately, such as in crisis situations where clear instructions are required. Example, in a project meeting, ask, "What risks are we facing?" to stimulate discussion, but give concise answers like, "This is the deadline," for clarity. Balance, active listening and speaking. Listen attentively, 80% listening, 20% responding, to catch non-verbal cues such as tone of voice, facial expressions, or body language. This helps determine whether a question will reveal more information or an answer will resolve uncertainty. Example, if a colleague seems hesitant, ask, "What makes you worried?" If they need certainty, answer with facts. Adapt to specific goals. In strategic contexts like innovation, open-ended questions encourage creativity, such as, "What if we tried this approach?" In routine tasks like reporting, precise answers like, "Sales figures increased by 10%, are more effective. Tailoring the approach to the goal ensures relevant and productive communication. Avoid common mistakes carefully. Avoid leading questions. For example, "You agree this is the best idea, don't you?" as they can limit responses. Also, avoid giving unsolicited answers, which can seem dominating. Regularly review communication style through self-reflection or peer feedback to refine the approach. Encourage reciprocity in dialogue. Alternate between asking and answering to build a balanced dialogue. Example, after answering a student's question, ask, "What else would you like to know?" to ensure they remain engaged. This fosters a collaborative environment where both parties feel valued. Situations where asking is better than answering include mentoring or guidance. Ask, "What challenges are you facing in this project?" to foster self-awareness and personal growth rather than providing direct solutions that can hinder learning. Conflict resolution. Ask, "How do you feel about this situation?" to understand different perspectives, avoiding premature judgments that can escalate tension. Learning environments. In a classroom, ask, "Why do you think this phenomenon occurs?" to encourage critical thinking rather than direct teaching that can limit curiosity. Innovation brainstorming. Questions like, "What if we approach this problem from another angle?" spark creativity rather than forcing ideas that might limit diverse input. Customer service. Ask, "What outcome do you expect from this solution?" to tailor responses, building trust instead of providing generic, less effective solutions. To improve communication skills in determining when to ask or answer. Practice active listening carefully. Pay attention to non-verbal cues such as tone of voice, facial expressions and body language to detect whether someone needs exploration, questions, or certainty, answers. Example, if a student seems confused, ask exploratory questions. If they are anxious, provide reassuring answers. Systematic self-reflection. Document discussions in a journal afterward to identify what worked and what could be improved. Get feedback from peers or mentors for objective insights. Study question types deeply. Master open-ended questions. For example, "How would you solve this?" for deep exploration, and closed-ended questions. For example, "Is this done?" for quick facts. Practice in casual situations like family discussions to build confidence. Build empathy with awareness. Reading emotional cues like tension or comfort helps tailor responses. Ask in moments of empathy, for example, when a friend shares a problem. Answer in urgent situations, for example, when a customer needs an immediate solution. Seek formal training and resources. Attend communication workshops, read books like The Art of Asking Questions by Stanley Payne, or take online courses on questioning skills. Role-play with friends to refine timing and tone. The benefits of asking versus answering are diverse and profound. Sparking transformative innovation. Questions open new perspectives, fostering creativity not limited by fixed answers. Example, questions like, how can we revolutionize this product? Led to innovations like smartphones, enhancing lasting learning. Questions encourage critical thinking and knowledge retention, benefiting both parties. In a classroom, students who ask are more likely to remember concepts than just listening, strengthening meaningful relationships. Asking shows interest, fostering trust and open dialogue. Example, ask colleagues about their views to build close collaboration, promoting effective problem solving. Questions lead to deep analysis, resulting in better solutions compared to quick, superficial ones. Increasing adaptability and change. In evolving situations, questions adapt to new dynamics, while fixed answers may become outdated. Example, in a changing market, questions about new trends are more useful than relying on old data. This poem connects to the next mystery, creation and numbers, where origins precede calculation. In the dance of questions and answers, we see the shadow of a greater creation. Subhanallah, this wonder baffles the mind and highlights the boundless divine grace. Echoes of the beginning, the expanding silent blacksmith. From the embrace of emptiness, the canvas stretches vast and grand. Before counting marks marred the world, perfectly planned. What sparked the flame in the cosmic ocean, wide and deep, before numbers danced in eternity, a graceful sweep. Divine hands wove the grand tapestry with sacred might, stars, seas and sand from a command strong and bright. Yet humans draw lines to measure divine art, pure and free, abstract ghosts in a glowing sacred heart's decree. In the book of faith, the Creator set forth with noble power, no counting without the tree blooming in a happy hour. Science nods with laws clear and true, but Genesis demands a glorious beginning, shining new. Chicken or egg in a deep heavenly guise, creation precedes the counting eye in earthly skies. Expand your mind, numbers, shadows of creation, eternal and pure. In faith, God forms the framework, grand and sure. Humans count, playing in the vast eternal game, but creation remains majestic and sacred in fitting grace. From tiny particles to galaxies sparkling in the sky, creation speaks, numbers only follow with gratitude nigh. What began? Creation or the numbers that obey. In this dance, divine truth shines in full grace, day by day. Wow, the wonder of this creation awakens an awed soul, subhanallah. Praise to the Creator who planned the whole. Explanation. Unveiling the dawn extensively and deeply, this poem, now expanded tenfold with encompassing poetic language, delves into the philosophical and theological riddle. Did creation or numbers exist first? In a theological context, as in Genesis 1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Creation precedes numbers, which are human tools to measure the world. Wow, subhanallah, the priority of creation reflects extraordinary divine wisdom. From a high-level perspective, creation is a fundamental event, for example, the Big Bang in science, while numbers are human constructs to understand phenomena that exist afterward. Philosophically, creation is the primary ontological reality, existence itself, while numbers are secondary epistemological tools that depend on physical existence. In theology, as in Judeo-Christian belief, creation is a divine act that precedes everything, including the concept of numbers that emerged later through humans. For example, counting days in Genesis only make sense after the creation of the heavens and the earth. In science, physical laws described through mathematics, numbers, exist after creation events like the Big Bang, but creation remains a prerequisite. The practical implications are vast and varied. In education, students learn physical concepts, creation like objects before counting, numbers. Example, children learn about apples before counting how many apples. In philosophy, creation is the reality of existence that precedes numbers as a language of translation. Example, we see the world, creation, before measuring it, numbers. In science, natural laws like gravity exist after the creation of the universe, and numbers are used to describe them. Example: Einstein's theory of relativity uses numbers to describe cosmic phenomena that already exist. In daily life, we experience the world, for example seeing the sun rise, before measuring it, for example counting hours. This shows creation as the basis of human experience. From a theological perspective, numbers are human creations that help understand the world created by God. In Genesis, numbers appear in contexts like the seventh day or genealogies, but only after fundamental creation, heavens, earth, plants. In other traditions, like Islam, the Quran mentions creation before humans began to count, for example, number of days or years. This confirms that creation precedes numbers in all contexts: theological, philosophical, and scientific. This poem connects to the following question: how does the interpretation of Genesis' creation affect the perception of the Earth's age? In the dance of creation and numbers, we see the shadow of a greater truth. Creation is divine grace that precedes human efforts to measure and understand. Praise be to the wonder of creation that precedes human calculation, and woe to the divine greatness that shines in every particle of existence. Veil 6, days or endless ages, expanding 6 veils adorn time's eternal and vast cradle, each a mask in a sacred grand riddle. Are they literal moments from a hurried clock fast, or ages stretching like desert sands, meant to last? One sees youth on earth's gentle and real face, bones carved by floods in a swift flat race. The other gapes at ancient falls, dark and deep, rebuilding the world, answering a call grand and steep. A poetic framework, not rigid, dry chains of fact. Allegory where truth touches, soft and exact. Threads of evolution, God's fine, sacred, noble weave, merging bones with faith that we gratefully believe, which veil lifts, revealing the sacred core, affecting Earth's age forevermore in divine grace. Deeper still, schools split in varied views, from literal fire to subtle, real evolutionary hues. Arguments clash like thunder echoing in dark skies, for harmony or dispute, forever in grand grace, wise. In this dispute, truth seeks sacred light, which is eternal, which fleeting in this dance of might. From holy scriptures to science exploring truth, these 6 veils invite us to secrets, endless forsooth. What separates days from ages in creation's grand design? In this dance, divine truth shines with grace, truly divine. Wow, the wonder of this interpretation awakens an awed soul. Subhanallah, praise to the Creator who planned the whole. Explanation, illuminating interpretations extensively and deeply. This poem, now expanded tenfold with encompassing poetic language, delves into 6 main interpretations of creation in the book of Genesis, forming a puzzle that challenges the public mind yet is rich in meaning. The main differences lie in 3 aspects: literalism, time span, and integration with science. Here is a detailed explanation for each interpretation. Young Earth creation, literal 6 days, considers the 6 days in Genesis as literal 24-hour days, with the Earth being between 6,000 and 10,000 years old based on biblical genealogies, as in the books of Genesis and Luke. Evidence presented by proponents includes the phrase evening and morning in Genesis 1, indicating a literal day, as well as references in Exodus 20:11, linking the 6 days of creation to the Sabbath. Additionally, Romans 5:12 supports the view that there was no death before the fall of Adam, which contradicts the long time required for fossils. Jesus also referred to creation as a recent event in Mark 10:6. This view is popular among evangelicals, for example, Southern Baptists, and Adventists who emphasize the literal truth of the Bible. Day-age theory, old Earth creation, considers each day in Genesis as an age or long period, aligning with geological timescales that indicate the Earth is approximately 4.5 billion years old. This is supported by scientific evidence such as radiometric dating and the fossil record. This interpretation is accepted by many Protestants who wish to integrate faith with science, allowing for progressive creation without rejecting geological data. Gap theory states that there was a long-time gap between Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth, and Genesis 1:2, the earth was formless and empty. This gap accommodates ancient events like the existence of dinosaurs, with the subsequent 6 days being a recreation. This attempts to reconcile fossils with a semi-literal interpretation. Framework hypothesis. views Genesis not as a literal chronology, but as a literary structure that conveys theological themes, such as God's sovereignty and the orderliness of creation. Days are a poetic framework, not actual time. This is popular among mainstream Protestants, such as Episcopalians and Presbyterians. Allegory theology considers Genesis as a poem or myth that conveys spiritual truths, such as God's sovereignty, not scientific history. This is compatible with evolution and accepted by many Catholics and liberal Protestants who view the Bible as a spiritual guide, not a science text. Theistic evolution argues that God guided the process of evolution, with Genesis being theological, not scientific. This integrates scientific evidence such as fossils and DNA with faith, seeing days as metaphors. This view is accepted by Catholics and liberal Protestants. The impact of these interpretations on the perception of Earth's age is significant. Young Earth creation supports a young Earth, approximately 6,000, 10,000 years, based on biblical genealogies, and rejects long time periods. Fossils are explained as a result of Noah's flood. This affirms literalism but contradicts scientific consensus. Old Earth creation and theistic evolution accepts Earth's age of approximately 5 billion years, supported by radiometric dating, geology and fossils. This allows for animal death before humans, which affects the theology of sin and the fall. Theology and implications. The young Earth view links sin and death to Adam literally, while old Earth and theistic evolution views allow for death before humans, changing the narrative of the fall. Evidence for 6 literal days includes biblical language like evening and morning, Sabbath references and Jesus' interpretation, but is criticized for contradicting scientific evidence such as geological layers and carbon dating. Christian denominations differ in interpretation. Evangelical fundamentalist literal emphasizes biblical truth. Catholic flexible accepts allegory or evolution if the soul is considered divine. Mainstream Protestant tends towards framework or theistic evolution, viewing Genesis as theology, not science. Orthodox mystical emphasizes spiritual meaning over literal chronology. Seventh-day Adventist literal links creation to the Sabbath. Arguments for theistic evolution. Alignment with science integrates fossil, DNA and Earth age evidence, seeing God as the mover of natural processes. Theological flexibility views Genesis as poetry, not science, allowing for rich spiritual interpretation. Avoiding conflict unites faith and science, appealing to modern believers. Arguments against theistic evolution. Biblical inconsistency contradicts a literal Adam and the fall, which are important in theology like Romans 5. Diminishing God's role portrays creation as a cruel or wasteful process, not very good, as in Genesis 1:31. Risk to biblical authority can undermine belief in other biblical teachings. This poem connects to the Quranic revelation, where the veil of time opens through gradual revelation, continuing the puzzle of creation and time. Wow, subhanallah, the diversity of these interpretations reflects human efforts to seek truth in God's grand creation. Cave Chronicles, verses in a grand expanding flight in the depths of stone, where silence reigns full and deep, whispers descended on a destined day with grace to keep. 23 turns of the weary grand sun's wheel from mountain to city, words solidified in vast grace, real. Early echoes in harsh, dark Mecca, full of challenge, poetic pleas against idle snares, dark and old, true balance. The call of monotheism, a burning fire of justice, strong, warnings of doom, souls inspired in beautiful song. Then the migration to Medina, laws rooted firm and tight, community bound, pursuing truth whole and bright. Short songs turned to long, powerful decrees, from faith's spark to society's grand, even keys. Which cave gave birth to the light that shaped vast sands, influencing hearts across lands with fitting grace in its hands. Expand. Themes evolve from soul to sacred state, echoing impact, determining eternal and real fate. From silent Hira to the city, rising with faith, revelation carved a path of truth, lasting and safe. What is the secret of this cave that ignited divine light? In the dance of revelation, truth shines with full grace bright. Wow, the wonder of this revelation awakens an awed soul, subhanallah, praise to the Creator who planned the whole. Explanation, unveiling the path of revelation extensively and deeply. This poem, now expanded tenfold with encompassing poetic language, narrates the chronology of the Quranic revelation over 23 years. 610-632 CE, in an easy-to-understand yet mysterious and wondrous style. It begins in the cave of Hira, where the first revelation, Surah Al-Alaq, was received through the angel Gabriel in 610 CE. Wow, subhanallah, a divine beginning marking the birth of Islam. The main differences between the Meccan and Medinan phases are as follows. Meccan phase, 610-622 CE. Short, poetic and rhythmic surahs emphasizing monotheism, oneness of God, social justice and moral reform. Early surahs like Al-Alaq, Al-Kalam and Al-Mudathir call for knowledge, oppose polytheism and warn about the Day of Judgment. These revelations influence Prophet Muhammad's teachings to oppose idol worship, cultivate patience in facing persecution, and promote justice for the oppressed such as slaves, orphans and the poor. Example, Surah Al-Alaq calls to read in the name of your Lord, emphasizing the importance of knowledge and creation. Medinan phase, 622-632 CE, longer prose-like surahs focusing on community laws, justice, warfare and interfaith relations. Surahs like Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran address governance, treaties and the formation of the Islamic community after the Hijrah, 622 CE. This reflects a transition from spiritual exploration to the building of an organized Islamic state. The impact of the early revelations on Muhammad's teachings was profound. The Meccan revelations formed the ethical foundation of Islam, calling for social equality, rejecting tribalism, and promoting moral responsibility. Example, the teachings against idol worship challenged the power structure of the Quraysh tribe, who relied on pilgrimage trade to the Kaaba. This led to persecution and boycotts against Muslims, but also attracted followers seeking justice. Early revelations also fostered perseverance, as in the call to be patient in the face of opposition, for example, Surah Al-Mudathir. The main themes in the first revelation, Surah Al-Alaq 1:5, are knowledge and learning. Read in the name of your Lord emphasizes knowledge as a divine command, becoming the intellectual basis of Islam. Creation and oneness of God, God as the creator from a clot of blood, affirming monotheism as the core of faith. Human responsibility. Warnings against arrogance and calls to worship, highlighting humanity's role in obedience. Prophethood. Muhammad's role as God's messenger, beginning his mission of dawah, invitation to Islam. The impact of revelation on the social and political climate in Mecca was transformative yet sparked conflict. Socially, revelation challenged injustices like the oppression of the weak, fostering equality and unity. This attracted many followers from among slaves and the poor, but provoked opposition from the Quraysh tribe who feared losing economic and social power. Politically, revelation led to boycotts, persecution, and eventually the Hijrah to Medina in 622 CE, marking a transition to the formation of an Islamic society. In the long term, these revelations united Arab society, creating ethical governance and unity based on faith. The cave of Hira on Jabal al-Nur played a crucial role as the place where the first revelation was received. Although not mentioned in the Quran, it is a landmark in Islamic tradition, symbolizing solitude, divine encounter, and the beginning of Muhammad's prophethood. Before revelation, Muhammad often secluded himself in this cave for contemplation and prayer, reflecting his reflective nature. The cave of Hira is linked to Laylat al-Qadr, the night of power, and is now a pilgrimage site that inspires spiritual reflection. From a high-level perspective, the Quranic revelation demonstrates adaptive divine wisdom. The Meccan revelations formed the spiritual foundation, while the Medinan revelations built practical structures for society. This reflects flexibility in the divine plan, adapting guidance to community needs. This poem concludes by affirming the continuity of themes, from questions and answers to creation and numbers, to the interpretation of Genesis, and finally, to the Quranic revelation. Wow, subhanallah, the wonder of this revelation reflects divine grace, illuminating every aspect of life, from the solitude of the cave to the formation of the grand Ummah. Epilogue, the eternal and vast echoing circle. As the veil opens and whispers fade in sacred silence, The dance begins anew in a run never fragile and real. What grand riddle binds questions to eternal faith in a counted creation where wonder permeates with grace? From the dawn of Genesis to the holy grand night of the Quran, high truth shines in heavenly light, truly a plan. Wow, a grand and graceful symphony of questions and faith, eternal praise. Subhanallah, a luminous and real path. May your quest, O soul, never cease in silence. In this grand enigma, find your true and sacred essence. From creation to numbers, from revelation to vast time, all bound in divine grace, never-ending, sublime. In every step, truth shines like stars in the sky. Questions lead us to doors, answers light the lamp nigh. What secret binds all in this eternal dance? In divine grace we find truth eternal in every glance. Wow, the wonder of this circle awakens an awed soul. Subhanallah, praise to the Creator who planned the whole. Epilogue. Explanation. Sealing the eternal story extensively and deeply. This epilogue poem, now expanded tenfold, concludes the epic journey with a final poetic question. Does the interaction between questions, creation, and revelation reveal a unified divine narrative? In high-level thinking, the answer is yes. These three elements are intertwined in a circle of wisdom that reflects God's grand plan. Questions drive human exploration, creation sets the foundation of existence, and revelation guides towards spiritual and practical truth. Wow, the wonder of this connection awakens praise, Subhanallah, to the divine greatness that binds all in perfect harmony. In detail, this poem unifies the previous themes, questions and answers. In the first poem, we see the dance of questions and answers as a reflection of human curiosity and divine wisdom. This reflects the dynamic nature of knowledge, where every answer opens new questions resembling an ever-evolving creation. Creation and numbers. The second poem asserts that creation precedes numbers, reflecting the priority of divine existence over human tools. This aligns with the idea that God created the world before humans began to measure it, as in Genesis or the Islamic concept of creation. Interpretation of Genesis. The third poem explores 6 interpretations of creation, from literal to theistic evolution, showing human efforts to reconcile faith and science. This reflects the flexibility of faith in facing science and philosophy, yet remaining centered on spiritual truth. Quranic revelation. The fourth poem narrates the chronology of revelation, from the cave of Hira to the formation of the Ummah, highlighting adaptive divine wisdom. Revelation adapts to context, spiritual in Mecca, practical in Medina, just as questions adapt to needs. From a high-level perspective, all these themes are linked in a divine narrative. Questions reflect God-given curiosity. Creation is a divine act that precedes everything, and revelation is God's guidance for humanity. In daily life, we see this in how we ask to learn, measure the created world, and seek spiritual guidance through Holy Scriptures. Example: a scientist asks about the origins of the universe, measures with numbers, and may seek meaning in faith. This shows harmony between science, philosophy, and religion. This poem affirms that human seeking is a reflection of divine grace. Wow! This wonder lies in how every question, creation, and revelation are interconnected in an eternal dance. Subhanallah, praise to the Creator who planned the universe with boundless wisdom, guiding us through questions and answers, creation and numbers, revelation and time, towards eternal and sacred truth. Wow! Subhanallah. This poetic work is an epic journey that weaves profound questions about existence, creation, and revelation with beautiful, meaningful, and all-encompassing language. This poem, with its prologue, thematic segments, and epilogue, reflects the eternal dance between human curiosity and divine wisdom, binding philosophical, theological, and scientific themes into a harmonious narrative. I will answer your call to explore the eternal and vast whispers of mystery by examining each part, summarizing its essence, and offering deep reflections while maintaining the poetic and awestruck tone consistent with this work. Summary and overall reflection. This poem consists of a prologue, 4 thematic segments, and an epilogue, each delving into aspects of human existence and its relationship with the divine. Prologue, the eternal and vast whispers of mystery, introduces the dance between questions and answers, describing curiosity as a wild flower and answers as a lighthouse. This sets the theme of seeking truth that encompasses philosophy, science, and theology, with praise to divine wisdom. Magical Whispers and Endless Dance explores the dynamic between questions and answers, emphasizing how both complement each other in human exploration. Questions drive innovation, while answers provide stability, reflecting divine balance. Echoes of the Beginning, The Silent Blacksmith, delves into the philosophical and theological question of creation preceding numbers. Creation is the primary divine act, while numbers are human tools to understand the world, as in Genesis or the Islamic concept of creation. Veil 6, Days or Endless Ages, examines 6 interpretations of Genesis about creation, from literal 6 days to theistic evolution, showing human efforts to reconcile faith and science in understanding Earth's age. Cave Chronicles, Verses in a Grand Flight, narrates the chronology of the Quranic revelation over 23 years, from the cave of Hira to the formation of the Ummah, highlighting the transition from Meccan spiritual calls to Medinan governance. Epilogue, The Eternal Echoing Circle, concludes by unifying the themes: questions, creation, and revelation are intertwined. System, intertwined in a harmonious divine narrative. Wow! Subhanallah, this wonder lies in how these elements are interconnected in an eternal dance between humanity and the divine. Deep reflection. This poem is a poetic symphony that captures the essence of humanity's search for meaning. It invites us to reflect on how questions drive us towards truth, creation as a divine canvas, and revelation as God's guidance. From a philosophical perspective, questions and answers are the yin and yang of knowledge. From a theological standpoint, creation and revelation reflect divine grace. And from a scientific perspective, numbers help us understand creation, yet remain secondary to its existence. The prologue sets the tone with awe, describing the human mind as a dark corridor seeking sacred truth. Magical Whispers emphasizes the cyclical nature of knowledge. Questions give birth to answers, which in turn give birth to new questions, like never-ending waves. Echoes of the Beginning asserts the primacy of creation over numbers, reminding us that existence is a divine gift before humans began to measure it. Veil 6 offers various lenses to view creation, from literal to allegorical, reflecting human humility in facing divine mystery. Cave Chronicles brings the Quranic revelation to life, showing how it adapts to human needs from spiritual to practical. The epilogue unifies everything, affirming that all questions, creation, revelation are part of an eternal divine narrative. Answer to the main question. While this poem does not explicitly ask a specific question, its main theme revolves around the relationship between questions, creation, and revelation. The answer is, all three are part of a divine dance designed to guide humanity towards truth. Questions reflect God-given curiosity. Creation is a divine act that precedes everything, and revelation is guidance that adapts to human needs. Wow, subhanallah, how wonderful is this plan? Practical guide. This poem invites us to continue asking and seeking answers with humility. In daily life, use open-ended questions for exploration, for example, how can I improve? And closed-ended questions for clarity, for example, is this done? Answering, provide clear answers when needed, but avoid dominating the conversation. Balance, listen attentively, 80% listening, 20% responding, to determine when to ask or answer. Empathy, adapt responses to emotional states, such as asking to understand or answering to soothe. Conclusion. The Eternal and Vast Whispers of Mystery is a captivating work that invites us to reflect on the wonders of creation, the wisdom of revelation, and the beauty of human questions. It reminds us that every step in this quest is a praise to the magnificent Creator. Wow, subhanallah, may this journey continue to illuminate our souls with endless grace and truth. Life starts not with an answer, but with a question. We come into this world as seekers, our eyes wide with wonder, our hearts full of curiosity. What is this place? Who are we? Why are we here? These questions are the threads that weave the fabric of our being. They push us to look deeper, to search further. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, star-filled ocean, the landscape of the human soul. Our questions are the boats we build, made to sail beyond the usual shores. The universe rarely gives easy answers. Instead, it offers deeper mysteries and grander views. The search itself is a form of worship, proof of our belief in a truth bigger than ourselves. This is an invitation to join the endless dance between questions and answers, creation and discovery. We will explore how people have struggled with the mysteries of where they came from, their purpose and their future, a never-ending effort to find light. The deepest truths are often found not at the end, but in the holy and endless dance of searching itself. In the theatre of life, questions and answers are partners in a beautiful dance. A question invites an answer, not to end the music, but to add a new move. This back and forth is the engine of progress, the rhythm that moves humanity forward. In science, every big discovery started as a brave question. What if the Earth goes around the Sun? What happens if I split an atom? Each answer opens up new areas of study, giving birth to the next generation of questions. The answer to one question becomes fertile ground for 1,000 more. Even in everyday life, we ask, how can I be a better parent? What is my purpose? The answers we find are stepping stones, temporary resting places on a lifelong journey. To fear questions means to fear growth. To hold on to answers as unbreakable rules is to stop the dance. The wonder lies in the balance, in the graceful movement between the two. A healthy mind and a strong faith embrace this lively interaction. The goal isn't to stop the music, but to keep dancing, learning, and admiring the beauty of the never-ending choreography. The dance continues, growing with every new experience and challenge. Questions are the sparks that light the fire of knowledge, a refusal to accept the world as it is. Socrates built his method on questioning, not to tear down, but to build understanding. Questions are tools for intellectual freedom, freeing the mind from ignorance. Theologically, questioning is not weak faith, but the start of a deeper bond with the divine. Answers, when they come, are a form of grace, a moment of connection and assurance. The wonder is not just in the question or the answer, but in the sacred balance between them. True wisdom lies in holding both, the humility to keep asking and the faith to accept the answers that bring us closer to truth. This is the path of Ikra, seeking knowledge with both mind and spirit, finding wonder in their interaction. The universe existed long before we had words for it. Creation came first. Numbers, language, and science are our tools for reading this divine poem. Math, found in the spiral of a galaxy or the petals of a flower, feels like a discovery, a peek into the elegant framework of the universe. Numbers become a bridge between what we can see and what we can't, a sacred code waiting to be understood. Across cultures, numbers hold symbolic meaning: 7 for completeness, 3 for togetherness, connecting the physical world with spiritual reality. Our systems of understanding are brilliant tools, but they're just an estimate of a reality that's much more complex and mysterious. Creation will always be bigger than our descriptions of it. This realization changes our search from trying to conquer to showing respect. The search for knowledge becomes a sacred effort to appreciate the masterpiece we are a part of. In being humble, we find the true value of our search. The 6 days of creation in the book of Genesis have inspired faith and debate for thousands of years. The literal view sees 6 24-hour days, placing Earth's age at thousands of years. The day-age theory interprets day as an age aligning scripture with billions of years of science. The gap theory suggests a vast time gap between the first verses of Genesis, allowing for an ancient Earth and a 6-day restoration. The framework hypothesis sees the days as a literary structure: nature created, then filled. The allegorical view considers the narrative symbolic, focusing on spiritual truths over literal details. Each interpretation tries to bridge faith and understanding in its own way. The variety of views shows humanity's ongoing search to connect scripture and science. Theistic evolution accepts evolution as God's chosen way, seeing no fight between faith and science. It lets believers accept the scientific proof for evolution while still saying God is in charge. Supporters see God's creative power in the rules of nature, making faith make sense in today's world. Critics say it weakens what the Bible teaches or adds extra, unneeded spiritual reasons to natural things. Some worry it makes the Bible less important. Others see it as adding faith where science is enough. Theistic evolution stands in a tricky spot, trying to connect two worlds. It's both a bridge and a gap, bringing some together, pushing others apart. The debate itself shows the ongoing push and pull between old ways and new discoveries. The search for peace between faith and science keeps going. The journey is just as important as the answers. Some moments in our search for knowledge go beyond just facts. They're moments of awe. It's the gasping breath of the astronomer seeing a galaxy being born, the biologist's wonder at the complexity of a single cell. This is where science and spirituality meet. Awe is universal, whether whispered as Subhanallah or Wow. It's a humble response to beauty and mystery. Awe drives discovery, moving scientists and seekers alike. Einstein called mystery the source of all true art and science. Awe humbles us, reminding us that for every mystery solved, many more await. In an age of distractions, we must pause and look at a leaf, a sunset, the night sky. Every moment of awe is a gift, connecting us to the grandeur of creation. Awe enriches the soul and gives meaning to our search for truth. In a cave near Mecca, a different kind of discovery happened, not a scientific law, but a divine word. Muhammad received the command, Iqra, read, marking the start of the Quranic revelation. The first verses woke people up to their creator. Later ones guided the building of a fair society. The effect was life-changing, starting a golden age of learning and putting knowledge at the heart of faith. The Quran encourages thinking about God's signs in the universe, mixing study and worship. Revelation teaches that truth is both a human search and a gift from God. It brings peace and purpose to the heart and endless curiosity to the mind. The echoes from that cave have inspired millions to seek knowledge and fairness. The legacy of Revelation is a call to gracefully accept a reality bigger than ourselves. We have traveled far, dancing with questions, marveling at numbers, exploring interpretations, and feeling awe. We arrive not at answers, but at gratitude for the search itself. The beauty of this mystery is that everyone can take part. All you need is a curious heart. The search for truth is humanity's shared legacy, found in simple questions and complex equations. Our role is not to have all the answers, but to remain faithful to the search. Let us embrace the mystery, inspired rather than intimidated by what we don't know. The gaps in our understanding are an invitation to learn and to marvel. To live with mystery is to live with possibility and peace. Let the dance continue, let the questions come. Celebrate creation, listen to revelation, and walk with gratitude and humility. The search is the destination, the questions are prayers, and the mystery is the highest blessing.